Welcome to my story time by mybooksummary.com. Get ready for quick wisdom of countless stories and explore. The Great Gatsby by FScottFitzgerald. In the summer of 1922, the world shimmered with the golden glow of excess. America had emerged from the shadows of war into an era of jazz, flappers, and boundless dreams. And in the midst of this dazzling chaos, a young man named Nick Carraway arrived in New York, hoping to carve out a future for himself in the bond business. Nick, an observant and somewhat reserved Midwesterner, rented a modest home in West Egg, a fictional stretch of Long Island known for its new money millionaires. Just across the bay, in the more refined and aristocratic East Egg, lived his cousin Daisy Buchanan and her wealthy but brutish husband, Tom Buchanan. The Buchanans embodied old money, privilege passed down through generations, a life of effortless luxury that neither questioned nor earned. Yet, what fascinated Nick most was neither East Egg nor his relatives. It was his neighbor, Jay Gatsby. The mystery of Gatsby. Jay Gatsby was a legend wrapped in a finely tailored suit. His lavish parties, held every weekend at his grand mansion, were the talk of the town. Hundreds of guests, many of whom had never met their host, flocked to his estate, drinking champagne, dancing to jazz, and speculating about the enigmatic man behind it all. Some claimed he was a German spy. Others said he had killed a man. The truth? No one really knew. Nick, by contrast, lived a life of quiet simplicity, until one day an invitation arrived. Unlike the countless strangers who crashed Gatsby's parties, Nick was personally invited. That night, under the glow of Gatsby's extravagant fireworks, Nick met the man himself. Gatsby was nothing like the rumors. He was charming, polite, and endlessly hopeful. Yet, behind the dazzling smile, there was an undeniable loneliness. Soon, Gatsby confided in Nick. Everything, the house, the wealth, the parties, was all for Daisy Buchanan. A love rekindled. Gatsby and Daisy had once been deeply in love. 5 years earlier, they had shared a romance that Gatsby had never forgotten. But while Gatsby was off fighting in World War I, Daisy, unwilling to wait, married Tom Buchanan, a man who could give her a life of immediate comfort. Now, Gatsby wanted her back. He asked Nick for a favor, to arrange a reunion between him and Daisy. And so, on a rainy afternoon, in Nick's modest little house, Gatsby and Daisy saw each other again. At first, it was awkward. Gatsby, usually so confident, was suddenly nervous, boyish, vulnerable. But as the conversation flowed, the years between them seemed to disappear. Daisy, caught between nostalgia and excitement, fell into Gatsby's world once more. The illusion of the dream. Gatsby believed in reinvention, in the idea that if you worked hard enough, dreamed big enough, you could reshape the past. He had built an empire for Daisy, believing that once she saw it, she would choose him. But Gatsby underestimated the power of old money and social status. Tom Buchanan was no fool. He saw the flicker in Daisy's eyes and sensed the shift. And Tom, being the arrogant brute that he was, decided to crush Gatsby's dream. In a dramatic confrontation at a sweltering New York hotel, Tom exposed Gatsby's past, his humble beginnings, his shady dealings in bootlegging, and the illusion he had carefully crafted. He taunted Gatsby, pushing him to admit the truth. Daisy was never truly his. She had moved on. She belonged to Tom. Daisy, caught in the storm, caved. She chose stability over love. Gatsby's dream crumbled before him. The tragedy of Gatsby. That night, as Gatsby waited hopelessly for Daisy's call, one that would never come, tragedy struck. Earlier, Daisy had been driving Gatsby's yellow car when she accidentally hit Myrtle Wilson, Tom's mistress. But Tom, ever the master manipulator, told George Wilson, Myrtle's husband, that Gatsby was responsible. Consumed by grief and revenge, Wilson tracked Gatsby down at his mansion. As Gatsby floated in his pool, lost in thoughts of the past, Wilson shot him, ending the great dreamer's life. The final goodbye. Nick, devastated, arranged Gatsby's funeral. But the hundreds who had once flooded his parties were nowhere to be found. Gatsby, the man who had hosted New York's elite, died alone, with only Nick and Gatsby's father in attendance. Disgusted by the emptiness of wealth and privilege, Nick left New York, retreating back to the Midwest, where people were honest and dreams weren't built on illusions. Gatsby had spent his life chasing an unattainable dream, believing that love and happiness could be bought. But in the end, the world of old money closed its doors, leaving him out in the cold. And so, staring at Gatsby's empty mansion, Nick whispered his final words on the tragedy of his friend. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Head over to www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share the magic with friends, and let's grow together through the power of books and interesting stories.